Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Thursday, May 1st, 2025. A driver with suspected controlled substances in his car is alleged to have led deputies on a 6-mile chase through 29 Palms. On Monday, just after midnight, San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies say they attempted to conduct a traffic stop on a vehicle with a broken license plate near the intersection of Sunny Slope Drive and Alpine Trail in 29 Palms. Deputies say that the driver of the vehicle, whom they identified as Christopher Hansen, 33, failed to yield and led a pursuit that covered 6 miles. Deputies say that Hansen drove at a high rate of speed through a residential neighborhood, ran several stop signs, and drove into oncoming traffic. They say he eventually stopped the car and attempted to flee on foot before he was taken into custody, where he admitted to being the driver of the vehicle and was found to be in possession of suspected methamphetamine. Hansen has an active warrant for a charge related to possession of controlled substances. Christopher Hansen was arrested on suspicion of several charges of evading law enforcement with disregard for safety and possession of a controlled substance and is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $30,000 bail. On April 3rd, deputies received a call about an individual wearing a mask and wielding a knife in Lucky Park. The incident, which ended with a 13-year-old autistic boy in handcuffs, became public knowledge when several witnesses addressed the 29 Palms City Council at their public meeting on April 22nd. Reporter Heather Clisby has more.
During a weekly gathering of about 30 homeschooled kids and approximately a dozen of their parents on April 3rd, a call was made to deputies about a, quote, younger subject with a knife wearing a mask near children. This was not a 911 call, but a radio request put in directly to law enforcement by a welfare fraud investigator who made the observation while sitting in her car. The officer's handling of the incident has since become a subject of contention. Parents on the scene say the officer's response was, quote, overkill, while deputies insist they were simply preparing to confront an armed male and aimed to defuse any immediate danger. Z107.7 has reviewed audio of the initial call and body cam footage from all 4 of the responding officers. At approximately 12:30 p.m., deputies arrived and shouted instructions to the suspect to lie down. Deputy Cervantes initially had his gun drawn at a 45-degree angle and pinpointed the subject by describing his clothing. Deputies advised others in the area to back off, but did not order other children to lie down, though they responded to the words. Cervantes holstered his gun once he saw the suspect had taken direction, and Deputy Alvarado engaged the suspect. By the time officers reached him, he was on his knees, his hoodie was off his head, the mask was removed, and his hands were in the air. The suspect turned out to be a 13-year-old autistic boy named Ryder Bjorklund, who was part of the homeschool gathering. Those who know Ryder confirmed that he regularly wears the Day of the Dead skull mask as a form of self-comfort. Officers asked him about the knife, and he indicated it was in his pocket. Officers confiscated the knife, an illegal switchblade with a 2-inch blade, before the handcuffs were removed. Ryder was released to one of the mothers in the group who acted as a liaison between the officer and Ryder's mother, Kimber Hartley, who was too upset to speak with deputies calmly. That Ryder is 5'5" and had his face covered likely added to the confusion on the part of the welfare officer and the deputies. It's illegal to knowingly possess a switchblade knife in California, especially in a public area. Conviction for violation is a misdemeanor crime that carries up to 6 months in jail and a fine. In this case, deputies confiscated the knife and no citations were given. Deputies and parents remained on the scene as each side tried to untangle the why and how of it all. Parents not understanding why law enforcement came in with weapons to a playground full of children without speaking to anyone, and deputies not knowing that they are dealing with an innocent autistic child instead of a lurking predator with a dangerous weapon. With regards to the deputies, Kimber Hartley had this to say.
You're in a small town. I get there's violence out here. There's crime out here. But there's also a need for understanding and better be able to assess the next situation so a child does not have to die in 29 Palms or anywhere in this basin.
Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
Last night, the Morongo Valley Community Services District Board of Directors held a special meeting in Covington Park's Mesquite Room. Reporter Gabriel Hart was there and joins us with this recap.
The meeting began with the board approving former board member Matthew Campos to take over as the CSD's general manager at $400 a week, while current GM Brittany Chavez goes on temporary leave. Next, the board had a lengthy discussion on the 2025-26 budget with lots to consider, primarily with the fire department in need of new turnout protective uniforms and various apparatus repairs. The board crunched numbers with Chavez for the next hour to see what could be sacrificed to accommodate the unexpected costs. Board Director Steve Hayden volunteered to take the fire inspection class to save the district the $900 they'd spend on hiring an outside inspector, and Chavez suggested the cost of recent upgrades to the CSD's website weren't justifying the sparse signups for the voluntary revenue program. With some adjustments and future goals discussed, the board approved the budget. Discussions continued regarding the CSD's mural project, where they will seek local Morongo Valley artist submissions to eventually paint an 8-by-8-foot mural on the north side entrance of Covington Park's main building. The board hopes to have more information for artist submissions on the CSD website in May. Research and ideas continued for community member Foster Tucker's proposal for a dog park in Morongo Valley. Director Hayden voiced concerns about liability and maintenance, while other board members suggested looking into code enforcement as well as reaching out to other dog parks in Yucca Valley or Palm Springs to gather notes on development. With further research needed, the item was tabled and put on next meeting's agenda for continued business. Finally, the board approved the $4,000 purchase of a new Park Gator maintenance vehicle for Covington Park. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Gabriel Hart.
The Morongo Basin Healthcare District Board of Directors meets in regular session this evening to review and approve a number of financial and human resource policies. The board will also receive a financial report from their chief financial officer and discuss the impact of federal legislative changes on local healthcare. The board meeting is open to the public and begins at 6 p.m. at the district's office at 6530 La Contenta Road, Suite 400 in Yucca Valley. Harrison House Music, Arts, and Ecology is a residency and performance program for international artists and environmental activists. On tomorrow's Z107.7 Up Close show, Harrison House founder and director Eva Soltes will join host Gary Daigneault for a closer look at upcoming events and projects. She will be accompanied by astronomer Dr. Gary Blackwood and string musician Ash Ingalls. Learn all about Lou Harrison's Desert Retreat in Joshua Tree on the Up Close show tomorrow, live at 10 a.m. The show is available as a podcast at Z107.7fm.com tomorrow afternoon. Jesus Christ Superstar ends its run at Theater 29 this weekend. If you haven't yet seen the popular show, it's not too late. Adeline J. Wells saw it, and here's an excerpt from her review.
Directed by Charles Harvey. With music by Andrew Lloyd Webber and lyrics by Tim Rice, while I knew the basis of the storyline and that the music was a rock opera, I was unaware that the entire production was sung through. Paired with the heavy, emotional content of the plot, this dialogue structure made for an impressive, moving performance. Rather than setting the show in standard biblical times, Garvey set the story in modern day. This artistic choice set the lessons of Jesus Christ against current issues that struck as especially poignant. The costumes and set were designed thoughtfully to merge history with the modern setting. Elements such as soldiers with guns, go-go dancers, and cell phones recording every event add a contemporary balance to the biblical tale. Flaming pillars and laurel wreaths invoked the backdrop of the Roman Empire, and cheeky choreography by Lisa Hodgson and Makasi Boykin provided comic relief, particularly in the temple. The graphic scenes of the arrest, beating, and crucifixion of Jesus were executed with an intensity that lingered after the curtain went down. Jesus Christ Superstar continues its run at Theater 29 through May 3rd. Tickets can be purchased online at theater29.org or by calling the Theater 29 box office at 760-361-4151. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The annual Morongo Basin Healthcare District Health and Resource Fair is happening on Saturday at the Yucca Valley Community Center Complex. The annual event is a partnership between the Morongo Basin Healthcare District and the town of Yucca Valley with the purpose of providing resources and improving health throughout the high desert. Bring the entire family and take advantage of free health screenings, including blood pressure, body mass index, glucose, and A1C tests for those who have not been diagnosed as diabetic. This year, the event will include the opportunity to chat with a pharmacist, as well as a Morongo Basin Community Health Center dentist and other medical professionals. There will be between 30 and 40 nonprofit health-related vendors with resources and the opportunity to learn how these organizations can help you and your loved ones. The County of San Bernardino will be on hand with representatives from Children and Family Services, the TAD Office, Behavioral Health, the WIC program, and the Veterans Center. The County Fire Department will be on site offering tours of their fire truck. There will be free food, family-friendly entertainment, and health-focused fun for all ages. Z107.7 is a media sponsor of the event, and our own Cody Joseph will be broadcasting live from the event on Saturday. The Health and Resource Fair is this Saturday at the Yucca Valley Community Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And finally, the Yucca Valley High School and 29 Palms High School track teams traveled to Coachella Valley High School on Wednesday to compete in the Desert Valley League Finals. Trojans coach Patrick Francis said that almost all of their runners got a personal best record, and the team qualified more individuals for CIF than they had in the last 5 years. Taylor Soares took first in the high jump for the second year in a row. Sahili Gilmore took first in the shot put. Ian Jarrett took first in the 100-meter and 200-meter. Charlie Jones took third in the 300-meter hurdles. The Trojans will head to the CIF meet held at Yorba Linda High School on May 10th. The Wildcats won a dozen events. The girls earned 9 titles, and the boys took home 3. Maverick Bercleo set a personal record in discus, and Alex Jackson set a personal record in 110-meter hurdles. Alex Jackson led the boys in scoring with 18 points. Sabrina Graham was a triple winner for the day on the 100-meter hurdles, 200-meter, and 4x1 relay, scoring 22.5 points. Eva Tilley led all Wildcats with 26.5 points and was voted the Desert Valley League track MVP. The Wildcats will be heading to Carpinteria High School to compete in the CIF Southern Section Division 4 preliminary meet. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.